What if? What if you could pursue a passion? What if you could make contact with nature? What if you could learn about our world's untold secrets? What if you could use your knowledge to ensure that wildlife would survive into the next century? There are people all over the world whose life's work involves discovering nature's secrets and working to manage the world's wildlife into the future. From the far ends of the earth to our everyday encounters with wildlife, what they learn helps us understand the world in which we live. They make important decisions that will ensure the survival of species into the future. Who are these people?
My name is Tiffany Saker Garcia, and I am an assistant professor in the Fisheries and Wildlife Department here at Oregon State University.
I'm Judy Lee, and I am an associate professor in the Department of Fisheries and Wildlife. I retired, but that only means that I'm not doing quite as well.
I'm Dr. Selena Happel. I'm an associate professor in the Department of Fisheries and Wildlife at Oregon State University.
My name is Asako Yamamuro, and right now I'm a fifth-year PhD student at Oregon State University.
They are people whose jobs allow them to learn what nobody else knows, yet. They educate all of us about how nature works and how we can coexist with the wild in the world.
Fisheries and wildlife is a wide enough and broad enough term that encompasses a lot of different scientific fields.
You just can't run out of things to do.
It's really important to acknowledge that people do come from different backgrounds, and I think that's something that our program really emphasizes. You don't necessarily have to agree with everyone, but you do have to listen. We're scientists, we're educators, we do public outreach and education.
Things like animal behavior, population biology, community ecology, environmental science. I mean, there's a bunch of things that can fit into that bubble.
I like the way things are very diverse when we study biology and how things kind of fit together. It's sort of like a puzzle.
One of the things that we need to do is just at a very basic level inform more of the public that people do what we do, that people go out in the wild, that work on wildlife on the high seas and the mountains, even in urban areas, there's wildlife.
I have lots of options. I can live anywhere and also do this job.
It has a reward in that you feel like you have a chance to help people understand something that is so vital.
Your job is different, a little bit different every day. There are a lot of things to do. There's the flexibility and the freedom to explore what you're interested in and increase the value of not only our science but our education.
The questions they face are challenging because nature is just as complex as she is beautiful. Puzzles need to be solved every place where humans and animals overlap.
Virtually everyone comes in contact or influences wildlife in some way. So we're always playing this game of trying to figure out well, what data do we have? What are some data we might be able to collect in the near future? And how can we take that information and use it as best we can to try to evaluate the status of a population or how management might be affecting it. It's always important to have very strong scientific rigor in conservation biology.
Another part of it, though, is the opportunity to work with people and help them understand things that you've learned and also learn from them at the same time. So
it's really enriching because your job is not just what you do, but it also involves who you interact with.
As a biologist, we learn to read the signs of what's living there or not living in a particular place. And we can then look at the evidence that perhaps a biochemist might have or geologists might have to understand what is going on in our system.
I love working in the field. So I spent all last summer, you know, with a cooler in one hand and a fishing pole in the other, traipsing around the Willamette Valley catching bullfrogs. That's all I did, you know, and I had some really cool people working with me.
I work with people all over the world in a lot of different cultures working on conservation issues. And of course, because they're working in conservation, we all have a common goal there to improve the planet, both for animals and fish and for people as well.
What they do helps maintain wildlife resources for future generations. They educate all of us about how nature works and how we can coexist with the wild in the world.
My junior year, I took a herpetology class, and that pretty much changed everything.
I think like a lot of people who do what I do, I began an interest in biology long time ago when I was very young.
So I've pretty much always been a zoologist or a naturalist. I started working in this field when I was 12 as a naturalist for the Seattle Aquarium, giving tours and talks and learning about marine biology.
One of the great things about being a wildlife or fisheries biologist is that people who do this tend to already, of course, enjoy nature and being outdoors.
So when I was in grammar school, I preferred doing things in the outdoors, even though I was a city girl.
It's a big part of it is lifelong learning and getting to pursue that passion of learning about nature, animals, the ecosystems, and you get to go outside and explore those things.
And so after that, I took that class, I changed and I became a biology major and graduated and knew immediately that I was going to go to grad school.
You actually build overall the body of science with your work. And at the same time, you get to indulge what you really want to do with your life, which is to spend time out in contact with the wildlife.
We have a kind of a dual focus. We do obviously the wildlife rehabilitation. We take in injured and orphaned wild animals and provide medical care for them, try and fix them up and then let them go in the wild again, give them a second chance. And we do about 700 animals a year, so kind of a mid-sized rehabilitation center as far as they go in the state. And then we have an educational program where we do educational outreach. We have some non-releasable birds of prey that we take out to schools, that sort of thing. We get a lot of things like red-tailed hawks, lots of rabbits and squirrels, and things like that. You know, we have a pretty good cross-section of the native wildlife that are in the community. We've seen, you know, almost every native species that I can think of. My name is Jeff Picton. I'm the executive director of Ocean, the founder. Myself and a few other people founded it back in 1989. People would, you know, find injured animals, they didn't know what to do with them. They'd drop them off at the vet, and I started taking them home for the follow-up care. And it really was just a hobby for a while. You know, I just was going to school and working and took a few animals home. So the first year, you know, I think we took in maybe 30 animals. And the next year was 100, you know, and then people started to, you know, hear about what we were doing and, you know, help me out. And so all of a sudden I had a bunch of volunteers working with me. Anyway, I reached one of those proverbial crossroads, you know, where you have to decide what you're going to do with your life and all that. So either go to vet school or form a nonprofit in order to pay for all this stuff and go that route. So obviously that's the direction I chose. And I don't regret it. It's been good.
When you were a field biologist, you get to go places that you might not have otherwise gone. It gives you the sense of when you're there, how privileged you are to do something, sometimes getting paid to do something other people would just give their eye teeth just to stand in that place. It's wonderful.
Their lifestyles allow them to be in contact with the wild side of life.
You have the opportunity to go all over the country and to experience all kinds of different ecosystems, people, and the creatures in those ecosystems.
She works on African buffalo. So she's like, well, you want to go to Africa? Sure, let's go to Africa.
The best has been going around the world working with different groups on conservation projects.
Go to Croatia, you know, and teach Eastern Europeans about ecology.
We got to go to Portugal,
to the Cayman Islands and protect the top predators and high trophic level marine organisms.
In the field, I've worked on everything from endangered Carner blue butterflies in the upper Midwest. I've helped handle wolves, bears, white-tailed deer,
Alligators, black bear,
And sea turtles, fish populations, birds.
Going out to California national parks and collecting any kind of lizard I could get my hands on.
we surveyed songbirds.
I worked in the Sonoran Desert on coyote issues.
All the way to counting barnacles, you know, on rocks.
Sensitive species such as pygmy rabbits in the sagebrush.
That isn't to say that I don't also enjoy picking up a sample and putting it under a microscope and seeing what is there.
Who will continue their work in the face of increasing challenges. In this time of urgency, a new generation of researchers, managers, and educators must step forward. The world that we have grown up in is the world we wish to pass on to our children. With every generation comes a new set of obstacles and the need for willing individuals to stand up and make their mark in the world.
People don't care about the environment, obviously not going to do anything to take care of it. We're trying to just foster that connection with people. We're trying to get people to realize how amazing this world is and how wonderful these animals are and that they're worth taking care of.
What if you joined them? There are dozens of paths to explore within the field of wildlife science, education, and management. biologists, managers, conservationists, field experts, fish technicians, researchers. You? Think of the contribution you could make. You can shape the future. Dare yourself to explore the wild side of what if. You can be one of these people. Dare to dream. Dare to walk the path of wild discovery.